Hello YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors. On this episode of Toys Out of the Way, we'll be taking a look at some of my recent pickups and acquisitions. If you're new to the channel or a fan of Star Wars collecting, be sure to smash a like on this video, remember to subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, or even become a channel member. Alright, welcome back gang. So here we have a bunch of stuff that's recently shown up and it's all from Shop Disney. Some of these are items that I've been holding off on, kind of like the astromechs. Not necessarily that I didn't want them, they just always drop individually and then I don't want to buy like multiples just to get free shipping. And yeah, just been putting those off. But these really cool probe droids actually went up recently and I just had to get some of those. So the astromechs were still available and I decided to throw them in the cart, which was great. Then we have the Star Speeder 1000, which is really exciting. Totally forgot about this because it was ordered way back in 24 during that D23 event. And yeah, it's here now. I've been seeing like images of it showing up at Disneyland and other people's orders shipping out. So totally forgot about it, but I'm pretty excited to have it in the collection and add it next to my other Star Speeder that I got some time ago and reviewed. Yeah, so let's take a closer look at all these things. I'm not really going to do a full review on everything, but kind of just wanted to share with you some things that have recently been added to the collection. And first up, we just have to take a look at the Star Speeder 1000 box, which is just really nice. I gotta say that they packed it a little better than the first one that I got. This box is just absolutely immaculate. I don't think there's a single scratch or anything on it. And yeah, the graphic is pretty cool. You got the Star Speeder just zooming through space right there. You got R2. Piloting it or whatever. And yeah, it's just a really good looking box. I'm loving the blues here and the racetrack. Everything about this is a really nice thing to add to the collection. Definitely going to be keeping this box nice and pristine. And yeah, like I said before, it's nice to get this into the collection and it's going to look cool displayed next to my other one. So while the box is like in really nice condition, I found it pretty funny that whatever tape or, this little decal thing here they used to seal it up is just hilarious. Like it's barely got any adhesion to it, so that was pretty funny. Here you can see you got C-3PO on the side with R2-D2 looking really good, and like I said, I'm going to do a full review of this later on, but I just kind of wanted to show you how I thought that was pretty funny. Like that is really not very sealed, but at the same time it's kind of cool because I can open it up and not have to like cut that or something. Yeah, you can see some nice imagery here as well on the top of the Star Speeder box, and yeah, it's going to be really exciting to open this up and take a look at it. And then again, just like the other side, this barely has any adhesion to it, which, like I said, I'm kind of cool with it. This one's not even stuck down. And then we have more imagery here of R2-D2 and C-3PO along with the Star Speeder. And then taking one last quick look at the back of the box, we have a very similar design from what I can remember from the other Star Speeder that was released not so long ago. And yeah, I really like this imagery. It's pretty cool, like schematics and stuff like that. You can see that we've got lights and some call outs talking about the sounds and like working landing gear and stuff. It's definitely a fun ship to add to the collection. And yeah, like I said, looking forward to reviewing this, so definitely check back with the channel when I do the full review of this vehicle. Moving on to the astromechs, we have our standard card back for all of these Droid Factory releases. We have the Star Wars logo nicely displayed up top, along with some droid schematic artwork, and then a light gray Nimpo color for the droid's name, R2-DL70, which essentially is celebrating Disneyland 70 years, which you can also see on this logo up here. Then we have essentially a superimposed image of the actual figure on a Coruscant background, looking pretty decent, and then the actual figure displayed on a bubble, looking really good. On the back, we have a small description about the droid itself, and then some schematics here showing off all the different points of articulation and just design with this droid. And then the name again, RL-DL70. So all in all, a pretty standard release when it comes to the Droid Factory stuff. I don't really keep these carded personally. I'm going to open this up, and that's going to be the end of that. And he's going to go into my town or somewhere on one of my dioramas. And here we have R2-DL70 out of the packaging, and I've got to say that the one thing about this droid that really appealed to me are the paint applications and just the overall colorway that they used on here. I'm a big fan of blues in general, and the like metallics and everything they used on here looks great in my opinion. Really like that stuff. Let's see if we can get some close up there. Yeah, you can really see that metallic shine. It looks really nice. Got some clean paint applications here in those little like light sections. You got the little like red light that also, is very astromech like. The black has a nice gloss to it. Really clean stuff going on here. Some highlights and just different paint applications throughout the dome, which looks really cool. Then looking at the body, similar stuff going on. That metallic shine is just really nice, very saturated, like purple magenta color there with another blue outline like around it. Very impressive when it comes to, the things they can do these days with like 375 figures and just paint applications. So really, really impressive stuff. Same here along all of his strut, and yeah, looks really good. So if we zoom out real quick, let's go back to the basic articulation when it comes to these droids. Not a whole lot going on. If you're new to collecting or the builder droids, this is pretty much the standard way you get astromechs. They have a swivel leg, you got a little swivel going on down here at the ankle. They do have kind of like an interactive wheel. They don't like slide around really. You can kind of push it, but it's not going to go rolling, if you will. They have a middle strut that can be taken out if you want to display them like that, or you can put it back in like so, and then you can just move the legs to get that rolling stance. The dome is also removable. Sometimes it's a little tight on there. This one's actually pretty loose. Sometimes they get this nice metallic color. This one has a purple, but I don't feel like it's too metallic like the rest of the figure. And as you can see, this peg just goes right back on there. And there you go. And this rotates a full 360 degrees, no problem. You can also just simply pull off the leg like that. If you do want to swap these and make customs and stuff like that, you are totally able to do so because of the Build-A-Droid like model. So yeah, all in all, a pretty decent droid, and I'm looking forward to adding this one to the collection. And moving right along, we have another astromech for this Droid Factory release. Once again, you're seeing that standard cardback with the Star Wars logo nicely displayed up top, followed by a light gray Nampill color and R2-BOO25, because this is actually a holiday droid for the upcoming Halloween season. What's also interesting about this droid in particular, you may notice he's on this Corvus background from Season 2 of The Mandalorian, and he's actually seen somewhere in that planet, like rolling around and stuff like that, I think, in the town. So I need to go back and watch that episode and see where this guy is at, because that was a big part of me wanting to get this one. I usually pick up most stuff, but sometimes you are like, do I really want this holiday droid? Do I need that guy? But once I saw he was in The Mandalorian, I was like, wow, I gotta get that guy, and obviously add him to my Mandalorian display, especially if I ever want to do some Corvus shots. And then here you can see the droid on the bubble, looking pretty good, of course. Once again, on the back, we have a small description about the droid and a schematic showing off different points of the articulation and design and just overall details when it comes to this astromech, and then his name, once again, R2-BOO25. So once again, I won't be keeping this one carded. If it was on a vintage collection card and it actually said, R2-BOO25, Ahsoka series, or Mandalorian, and actually had him on Corvus, I'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool, but this guy's coming right off the bubble and actually going into my collection, which, let's just do it now. So maybe that was a little uncivilized, but here we go. So yeah, once again, just like the other astromech, very, basic articulation. You got swivels going on here. You got that little ankle articulation. The strut comes out of the middle. You can put that right back in. And yeah, he's got some pretty cool paint applications too. Kind of like a metallic sheen to him, which I think looks really nice, especially on the dome. And yeah, you can see that pretty much all throughout. So another nice addition to the lineup. And like I said, I'm going to need this guy if I ever want to do some Corvus shots. So cool that, Disney's kind of filling in some of those unique background characters for the Star Wars universe. And wrapping up my pickups, we have the Droid Factory, Probe Droid, and Hyperspace Pod. Now this is a very exciting release because I am really looking forward to adding this one to my Hoth display, but also potentially, my Rebels display. You do see the Probe Droid throughout like a lot of different Star Wars stories, and I just had to have two. I might pick up more if they ever go back on stock, but yeah, definitely one that is a good one to army build for your collection. Now, the Probe Droid itself is kind of a newer mold that Shop Disney came out with. We saw it previously with that Kenobi 4-pack that had Ned B, one Jack, and another droid that escapes my memory at the moment. I can always do a full review and kind of compare it to that release, but for the most part, it looks the same to me, but yeah, I can do a more in-depth review later. So a pretty decent droid itself if you're not familiar with it. It might be a little small, I'm not sure, but yeah, that was kind of like the only consensus back when it first showed up. Now, the very exciting thing that we have going on here is the pod. Now, they came through and gave us this pod, which is pretty hefty in size. It looks good. It's got some pretty decent detail on it and stuff. And what's really cool about it is it's functional. So Get your probe droid out of there. You shoot this out of your Star Destroyer or whatever, and it flies through space. It's got some pretty decent detail back here on the engines and stuff. And of course, it's going to crash land somewhere. And then you just press this button at the top and hold on to the engine area, and it would let all the compartments down, and your probe droid, of course, would have been clipped into here. As you can see, it's got this circular area and some clips that you would just take this stand and simply put it in like so. And then the probe droid would be released off into the galaxy to go hunt down or find whoever he needs to find. So pretty cool stuff. Like I said, it's a good one to army build, and I'm looking forward to putting this one on my Hoth display. Let me know if you picked one up when this went on sale or whatever, and yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below in general about the pod. I hope you've enjoyed this video and taking a look at some of my recent pickups and acquisitions. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't forget to smash a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps and is always greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone, and may the Force be with you.